The challenge today is to make 20 pips on buys and 20 on sells using at least 3 layers. So what I don't want you to do is stack 20 trades on, go for 1 pip on a buy and 1 pip on a sell, right? So the idea here of this challenge is to hunt for profit. I don't care if that hunt for profit is in a buy or a sell. It's to find the opportunity, no matter what it is, and take it. And if you have both of them on, great. You're not hedging. You're still in opportunities for buying and selling. Does that make sense?
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So let's reduce my position size. So this is where I think market could go up or so I've noticed that as far as the market movements, British pound and then the yen move about the same.
Sure.
I'm more comfortable now with these 2 pairs. And they're usually opposites. Like you can see this is going up and this is going down.
Sure.
It's just less analysis for me by doing these 2 pairs.
So the goal of this challenge is to find opportunities in buying and selling, right?
Right.
And so if this is what I'd be looking for right here. So you got kind of this move right here, and then you got a kind of cut that move in half. If it crosses this, it's probably going to come down and test the bottom. If it doesn't cross the half part, it could come back up and test the top. And if it tests the top, it could break a little higher. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so if you're looking for opportunities to buy and sell, right here would have been a good one to buy just for that pop that you just.
Let's buy right now.
Unless the only thing I can't tell you was this 3 pips, right? And if it's not,
usually I put on the trade and then I watch the target to know, and this is close enough for 3.
Mm-hmm. So what's the size of these candles really quick?
Let's measure it here.
So I got 5. Oh yeah. So one candle, not the price
20.
cycle, but what's the can? Okay, so these prices.
So this candle right here is about 1, and
what's the body? What's the candle of that red one right next to it?
This one was 1.3.
Okay, got it.
So 2 is like 4 or 5.
Got it. So that's the thing right there. Is not necessarily like to get in all at the same price point that you didn't or right.
So here the sells are playing out. This is where I buy again, just because it's at this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I originally analyzed this morning. That it's going to retest this pivot, and it actually broke past it. And so I measure the next one, which is right here. So right now we're in between, or we just passed it. And this is where I would also find the next level and say, well, the next level would be right here. That it might, break down. And it's super slow.
Yeah.
And so this is where the market could go either direction. And I'm like, okay, I don't know which way. And
that's what I was talking about earlier, like on this news event that just came in. Like obviously it pushed it higher, but with the slowness of the market, I definitely would have rather have been out of all of my trades before the news event, because if you were into sells here, it's going to be a long time for you to fix those trades.
Oh yes.
You know what I mean? And so just again, going back to, I didn't really have any evidence other than just the feeling of the slowness of the market, the volume, volatility. I'd just rather be flat for the news, right?
All right. So the sales just hit, and then this is where I'm adding to my buys to fix these top layers. Because in a 5-minute, this is still a continuation pattern.
Sure.
It's a flag. It's pop like this. It could go up to test that next level. But this is where stochastic is signaling to me it's likely to drop. It just has not crossed this level yet, though. So,
so this is what I would be doing right now. Kind of the same thing that you're doing is looking. I would have some take profit right here, but I would be buying all the way down to here. And then if it does cross right here, this is exactly what I was talking about. Like you could get into some sells for the right down, but I don't think if market structure is going to follow, it's not going to go hit and break this and come straight down.
mm-hmm.
It's going to do this thing all the way down. Right.
Right.
And so this could be an area where you could peel off this layer up here if you don't think it's going to hit. Right.
Well, this is where I would peel off right now as break even.
Yep. And that was a perfect play. It bounced back up, but now you could get back into some sells for a action at the bottom of that candle.
And this is half, so it's like it's a good target.
Mm-hmm.
Previously, I would set the targets here, be too greedy, and it wouldn't play out.
Yeah, I like to go for. I like to go for less than a half for sure. Less than if I'm hunting for profit, right? But I also correlate that with action points. So this could definitely be an action point right there.
Yep.
Right. And if it doesn't cross that, then you could get out for profit right there. But again, you're trading super light. So because you're trading light, it gives you the opportunity to keep getting into sells, and keep smacking on. And eventually you're going to get a few trades at the right point where it's going to turn because you have enough.
Well, I would get into sells heavy right here, especially once it breaks out, because then it usually comes back. And then I can get into like my break evens right here or my small profits right there.
Sure. But what I'm saying is because you're trading at a 0.01, it allows you to put it, even get a small little pop-up, you can put a trade on. Get another pop-up, you can put a trade on, right? You don't have to be so reserved in where you're putting your trades because the position size is really small. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. And previously I was trading 0.01 and I was too impatient with the percentage. So we're 0.05 and it's like, oh man, I got my accounts disabled and stuff. So I've been considering 0.02 lately.
Well, I think it all depends on the initial assessment of the market when you first get in. How's the market moving? What's your price cycles? And that should determine whether or not you can trade with a 0.5 or a 0.1, right?
Right. So if it's a bigger price cycle, trade smaller.
Yep, absolutely.
This is where it touched and missed it. It got 2 point something, but it didn't hit the 3. And this is where Sean would be so mad.
Like take the 2 point something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just that's why you need to have it on the action points, right?
This is where I would add now. Just a layer.
How's everybody else doing who's taking the challenge? Put the chat over here.
I'll just manually peel off here.
Checking in.
Yeah.
Did you ever look to fib that? Just curious.
I do. And it reached the 50% or 60 right here, 62, and then it continued back. So originally I had my stops right here for buys, right around here. And it played out. I got my targets for buys. So when it was going down like this, I'd buy on a different account. Unfortunately, I was hedging at the wrong time. So when it popped this, I should have hedged. And it would have hit my target. Instead, I waited for the retracement here and I hedged and it went against me. So that was where, like you were saying, first pop is when you should hedge it.
Right.
but I did it the wrong timing. And so that was a lesson learned. It was a good one, but I got out right here. I had my stops here, but it was going against me big. And I was too impatient right here because it retraced for break even.
So the question for you then is, you recognize it, you analyzed it. So how do you, what are some things you can implement to help you to execute better, or to not find yourself in that situation, or if you are, how to get out of it quicker? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just what are some learning, the lesson learned, but what did you learn? Right. But I guess that's the thing, right?
Well, as far as learning, it's the first time. And that's what Sean does. Like if this thing breaks out, he's selling the first time.
The first retracement, right?
Yeah, because people keep their stops right here, so it retraces.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like right here, I would start selling light. Right now, it's a continuation pattern up, so this is likely to go against me. If I'm trading lighter, then I have more position sizes and I can fade better, like what Kevin does, So it's like 1, 2, 3. So here I would like smack on the cells like Sean does. And then I would also move my targets up. But if this is a continuation, then as it retraces or what, then this is where I would get out of my cells and start buying. But I realized it can retrace like to here, the previous price action. So this is where I would leave my cells, let it play out, and see it's starting to. But see, this is where it's bad because it's a continuation pattern on a 5 minute and a 1 minute.
Yeah, but you're not looking for right this second. You're just looking for it to come down and retest this, right?
Right.
But it is the only difficult thing is that for me, this is an outside range, right? And so if it breaks, it could have turned into a ride the wave situation.
Okay.
So I don't know if I would have played that first retracement of a breakout here because it's an outside range.
I see.
Does that make sense? So right here, I would definitely have traded that because you're not, this turns into a ride the wave, right? And so for me, I would have rather been buying right here for a possible ride the wave situation. Does that make sense?
I see. So instead of selling, because it's an outside range, so if it was an inside range, then like a low, then you would be selling.
Correct.
Okay. So that's where I would like here I would just take the loss, and I would then compensate for that by smacking on the buys. So
yeah,
take on like this.
Sure, but if it crosses here, it could come down and test, right? And so I'd wait and see if it does get that cross, but I'd put some on, and then if it comes down test, I'd put some more on.
Okay.
Just in case you do get that run that way.
And this is what I would find is that like I'll have my profits and I'll lose it all, and then I just need to be in better trades where it's constantly profitable.
Well, one of the things that widen this out, the 1 minute out just a little bit. No, the chart. Yeah, you can do that, but I'm talking about pull this and widen that out.
Oh, you mean this? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's reset this. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's that
So-
retracement you're talking about.
But you see how, I mean, ever since it's kind of broken out of this is pretty much an outside range.
Yes,
Do you know what I mean?
it's a ride the wave.
Right. It's been into a ride the wave situation. However, and it's continuing to do that. So you look at the pattern here, it goes up, goes down, shoots up, goes down, up. Now, obviously this is a news event, but it was a continuation of that pattern where it pops up, pulls back down, pops up, comes down, goes up, goes down, goes up. That should follow that pattern going down. And so, but it probably won't cross here. And so this could be a good place to buy. And then I would hold on for a ride the wave situation if it's going to continue with that pattern. Does that make sense?
Right. So this is where I'll sort, and then my best targets, I'll remove the targets here, or best entries, I mean, for the ride the wave runners.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other ones I would use for my scalps to recover.
And where this breaks down, like you have to, you know, this is plan A, right? Plan B is where it breaks down. Where's a possible breakdown point, right? A possible breakdown point is if
maybe
it,
here.
Exactly. Yep. It's also, if it crosses here, means that it's crossed that point. If it crosses here, it could come down and test this, but ultimately, if it crosses this, comes all the way back down, it could get 100% retracement. And the only reason why would be cognizant of this is because this was news, right? And because this is news, a lot of times it'll try to correct itself and say, you know what, we want to start over without the news event impacting what the price structure is, right?
Okay.
And so sometimes news will try to correct itself, which it did here. And then it said, nope, it's going to go back the other way. And so I just be cognizant of that if it does cross this point, it could come all the way down for 100% retracement of that. Right. And so those are my points of interest, like where this movement of the down, up, down, up, down, up, and the continuation up breaks down. Does that make sense?
Yes,
where it breaks down. So by knowing that, you can appropriate your trading or your trades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. I think I'm just going to take it. That move just put me at like over 5% on the day, so I think I'll just call it there. That little pop-up move on the euro. So I trade the euro just because I'd rather have lower volatility or lower movement, volume is the word I'm looking for, and smaller spreads than higher volume and larger spreads. I know it's all the same. It's just more of what I'm comfortable with for me. I'd rather make my money on a smaller move than have to go for larger moves. So that's just me.
Okay. So for me, when I was smacking the scalps up here, I'm now top heavy. So that was a mistake. If I had waited for this retracement and now put on the scalps, much better position.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still on a continuation pattern.
So right now I would be buying
okay.
but I would not be buying for the opportunity for it to come up and from here.
Right.
I'd be buying for an opportunity to get me out of my trades at this action point right here.
Yep.
And then if that action point, if it goes past it, then now I'm into profit, but I'm at break even right here.
So did you pick this one because it's half? Because I would have thought this was the action point.
I did pick that one because if it crosses this one, then it's most likely going to come up and touch the top, right?
I see.
So this is where I would like to be my break even situation. And so I would put enough buys on. Now, then the other thing, part of the challenge is if it does break this, then what do you do? Right? If it breaks this, you got to also think you're in.
I'm gonna sell.
You also think
Right.
you're at the end of a price cycle, right? Because this could be a price cycle here, price cycle down. So you're at the end of a price cycle. So even if it does break below this, you still don't want to get into sells until you get a pop up and comes back and tests this right here. And if it fails this test, right here, that's when you would get into sells, because this is at the end of a price cycle.
Right. So like right here, the price cycle, time cycle is like this.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that if it continues here and I sell, I'm a little too early.
Mm-hmm.
But if it comes out here, fails, it doesn't go like this, then it's a continuation to test this one.
Correct.
Okay.
And then you could use the money that you have here for the next price cycle up to get out of all of these trades.
Right.
Right. Because you can make money on the sell here. And then when it price cycles up, you're making money on the buys here. And then if it fails to cross this, that's your new get out. But you got to make sure that you're getting money here and here. That makes sense?
Yes, makes sense.
And so now you're in a situation, and this is great for practicing. You're in a great situation that you probably a lot of traders find themselves in, where I'm losing on this layer. So how do I get out without just hitting that red X and taking the max loss, right?
Yeah.
So now you are really hunting for profit. You're still really good on your position size. So now you got to hunt for profit. So this could be a good place to put into some buys right here, because it came down and now we're at the end of, we just matched this move, right? And so this could be a good bounce point here. It could be, and if it continues to come down, I'd be buying here and I'd be buying here. And then I'd probably buy all the way down to here until it breaks. Now with the challenge though, you could look for, if it fails to break this, you could look for some quick sells down to there, right?
Right.
But we are at the end of a price cycle, so we should get a price cycle back up. And if it's going to happen, it's going to happen right here.
Well, we do see the wick and it's holding. So
Reduce my line size so you can see it better.
oh.
For those of you guys who are trading the euro, it did pass that 61% on the fib. So it should get 100% retracement of that, which would probably might correlate to your USD. It's always funny because is the dollar getting weaker or is the euro getting stronger, right? And so if the dollar is getting weaker, that's going to correlate to the your USD JPY. But if the euro is getting stronger, then that won't necessarily correlate. So it's always kind of interesting to see the comparison between the two pairs.
So here the price cycle is continuing and it's likely to do this and bounce somewhere in here.
Let's see. Anybody hit the challenge yet? Ike said he got the positive, but he's hunting for the sellers. 30. Alexander says 33 pips and buys, 45 pips and sells. Nice, you did it. Good job.
This is where I move my targets now. Oh, come on. So I'm trying to get out of this top losing layer, right? And it did bounce. It's just I don't think it bounced enough.
Yeah, it didn't hold. So here you could have gone into some sells right there, right? For a test of that low, just a quick hit on the sells, right? But in order for these to materialize, it definitely has to cross this, right?
Yeah. I was trying to fix these targets that I didn't get into my sells.
Yeah, that happens a lot when you miss opportunities because you're doing something else. It happens to me all the time because opportunities are like that. Do you know what I mean? And so if I'm like drawing or adjusting take profits, like using Magneto tool, and I come back, I'm like, oh man, I missed that. But the same thing, like if it pushes higher, it has to cross this. If it crosses this, then I would say that you're in a really good position to capitalize on not only fixing your trades, but taking a little bit of profit off. The only thing that I would say here, if you're trying to fix these trades, I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell, but I think you have more trades in this area than you do in this area. And I would have probably wanted to make those even. So making sure that you have the same, Evan, and my brain's not working.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I would have wanted to be able to break even right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's what I look for a lot is like, if I can get enough layers on for a break even situation, I would take this break even. If the action point says to take it. So if you get a stall right here, but if it doesn't stall and it shoots past it, I would not have, this is me, I would not necessarily have take profit set here because I want to see if I can't get to a test of this, right? So here's the true thing. Is it going to cross this? If it's not, you could, if it comes up here and fails to cross it, you could jump into some more sells, right? Into some more sells for a quick hit of down here.
Makes sense.
Right? While you're waiting for a price cycle up, right? Because we know we're going to get a price cycle up to just win. And so you keep building into this. You just kind of wash, rinse, repeat. You keep building into buys. Maybe you got 4 trades here, you buy here. Maybe you got 6 trades here, you buy here, and you have 8 trades here. All these are buys, right? Eventually, that's why the key is really to start light so that you can go a little heavier. And the key is, if I get a price cycle up, this is my break even. Right here, right? And so I can take that loss and I can kind of wash this, but this has made me break even on that. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Then the other thing you could do, which is part of the challenge, is to got into sells there for a quick hit on the take profit and be able to utilize.
You mentioned, but I was watching you.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot to sell.
So that you could utilize that profit so that it's now a lot easier to break even or make some money. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Now that to me, this is like a level 3 technique on the wobble because it is really difficult to manage. And that's why you practice it. It's really difficult to manage a lot of trades, multiple directions, flip-flopping. Am I buying? Am I selling? Your bias is all over the place. I mean, you have an initial bias of where there's a difference between your initial bias of where the market's going, all that kind of stuff, and then your personal bias of I'm into buys, so I want it to go up. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And a personal bias can sometimes get in the way of what the market is really doing. Right. And so if we're smacking in a lot of trades in one direction, we want it to go that direction. But this is where it becomes difficult, is when you can start seeing opportunities, even though you're into buys, you can see selling opportunities and take those. It really becomes difficult in our psyche, in our mental, in a mental, what a brain, whatever, because we don't want to see those. We kind of teach ourselves to ignore those because we're biased in one direction. And so that's why I'm saying it's really, really good technique to practice, because it starts getting you thinking of where's the next opportunity? Where's the next opportunity? And I really don't care. And as a trader, you should not care if you're right or you're wrong. You should just care about stacking profits, right? Wherever it is, doesn't really matter, right? And so always analyzing, where's the next one? Where's the next one? Where's the next opportunity?
So would you sell at this moment right here? This is the second and it looks like it's failing.
Maybe. The only reason why I would say maybe is because you are getting a consolidation right here. And generally off a consolidation, your trend is up, right? It's come back down. It's done this whole pattern all day long where it's gone up, down, but the higher highs have always been there. Right. And so there's really nothing in the market that says it's not going to continue that unless it crosses. We analyzed, I had to cross right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah. See right there, if I sold to retest this level, I could have had that opportunity.
Sure.
But it would have been like a risk for top heavy though.
Yeah, that comes back to your risk reward, but also if there's enough, here's that first retracement of a breakout right there. You could have bought in for a take profit of there. That's
what I did. I bought, but I'm holding at zero.
Got it. To me, that's my high probability trade setup where I would have smacked in as many as I could have before it did that.
Oh, so you're going to recycle these.
Right. So for me, I hit that buy button as many times as it'll allow me on a stall. So it comes down here, stalls. I'll be smack, because it's the first retracement of a breakout, and I'm at least going to get profit there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And this now, because of this candle, this turned into an exhaustion bar.
Yeah.
Where it just reaches, and if you get that hold, 20 seconds left. I mean, this could be an exhaustion bar on the other side. If it comes all the way back down and closes here, then now this is an exhaustion bar. Do you see that? And if it does that, which I don't know if it will, but if it does that, if it comes in the next 10 seconds, comes all the way down here and closes lower, then you need to be in sells. But if it holds, then your buys are in a good position. And that's really kind of interesting how one little candle can have a lot of information. It can just be like, you're right or you're wrong. Okay, so it still has to cross this though. It kind of did that attempt to cross, still has to cross that in order for you to be okay on here, right? So This is where you should be, and you are, like I was saying earlier. So this is perfect. You should be at break even right now, right? Which you are, because you're pretty much, your daily return is back to zero. But if it pops up a little higher, you should be at break even, right? So if you wanted to, and this is totally like how you're feeling. For me, if you wanted to get out at break even, you could have for a possible recycle and start and be like, okay, I got the reset to zero. I just fixed all my trades. I'm okay with that. It depends on how heavy you are here, and how long you've had to suffer through worrying about if you're going to make profit on these trades. When you're like, I really got to get out of these trades. And then you're finally like, yes, I gave me the opportunity to get out of my trades. If you're feeling like that, then I would take the break even.
this is where I would regret that because it's creating this kind of a pattern right here.
Sure.
So that's
But
where
sometimes,
I additional buy scalps.
sometimes getting that reset to zero is more powerful than anything. Does that make sense? Because you've
so I could get it out right here at 25 and break even, like you said.
right, but that's a personal call, is what I'm saying. It really depends on how much those negative trades have weighed on you mentally, right? And so you finally have felt like it's a major accomplishment just to break even, take it. If you feel like, you know what, my analysis is still correct and it just has to cross this, and if it does, all this is profitable. But do not ever make the trading mistake mentally, psychology of saying, oh, it's coming up. Yes, I'm going to win on all these now. And then it does exactly what it's doing right now, where it gave you the opportunity to get out. You didn't take it because of nothing other than just greed or having to prove yourself. You had to prove to yourself that you were right. Right. And those are two different emotions. One is greed and one is I have to be right. And those are both emotions that you have to work through. Right.
I'm still in luck because it's creating this.
So you're trading it. You're looking at it from an analytical mind frame, which is great. You're saying, okay, the structure, it's still in play, so I'm going to hold on to it. But the key thing is, once that breaks down, do you get out or do you say, well, crap.
I get out? So
you know what I mean? Or you like, crap, now I just lost my opportunity to break even. I got to wait and I got to wait on those trades, and you still hold on to those losses, right?
Exactly. But since, if I get out, then I would start smacking the cells right here.
Sure.
Because I know it's going to probably retest this and then most likely to this one. So right here, this is where it's losing. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to get out.
Well, you still have to cross that though.
Okay. So since on the retest here,
what we wanted to do, we wanted to pop above this, but if it fails and get that stall, you could get, like, for me, this is just me, I'd probably take the break even and look to start building back into different layers.
Yeah, that's what I would do right here.
But that's me. Unless you get
close at a profit, right. Small profit,
right,
and build a different layer.
I just don't. For me, I don't like having trades that are losing for greater than 15 minutes. I'd rather take the power back and be able to put back the trades where I want them. Does that make sense? And so if I had trades up here that were losing, I'd rather kind of put them back on and reposition them right there, right? But I would have done that earlier on this initial stall right here when it came up and stalled on this candle,
right? And
then I would have put layers back on right here when it popped down, and it failed to test this,
right?
And so that's the only difference, right? And that, again, I said that's not, you don't have to do it the way I do it. You do it the way you do it. That's just, for me, it's a feeling of, yeah, it could move higher, but I want to reposition these trades up here and put them down here,
right?
For that move higher.
Agreed. And this is where it's going to retest this pivot. So I put on some buys.
I don't know if I'd be buying right there because it's the end of a price cycle, right? And so, yes, it could test this.
You're saying like right here.
The likelihood of it breaking on the first attempt is low, and so I would probably sell for a retest of this, because again, this is retest of this before it kind of goes back up.
Right. Exactly. And that's exactly what it did. Retest.
And so now you could buy, but I wouldn't, but buying up here is not a good place to buy. Do you see that?
I see it.
So I always try to wait for just a little bit of a pullback if I think it's going to go up and test that top. Just better
It
place.
makes sense because it hit this price action right here.
Mm-hmm.
Pull back to this.
And if there's enough room, you jump into sells here.
Yeah, there was.
And to get some and take a little bit of profit, right? Nice, Papa Den. Got the challenge. Hit that challenge. Good job.
I think I hit the challenge as well.
Good job, Cliff.
Thank you.
Now you guys know what to do when you do hit the challenge, right? Post it to the wall of glory so that we can all worship your and sing your praises.
So this is where I would move my targets down because it looks like you said, end of a price cycle. And I'm wobbling. For this to hold. And once it hits, I'll start selling again. Or it might continue. So yeah, here if I had sold and kept my targets, I would have been profitable.
Well, don't ever say coulda, shoulda, right?
Okay.
It's don't look at the past, look at the present. What's the next move for opportunities, right? And I would probably say the likelihood for it to cross here, yes, it could happen, but if it does, then it has this that it has to deal with. So buying is still in play right now, right? And so
Right, I last bought right here at this level.
right, and then you could buy as it pushes down, and you could continue to buy right here. But that's where I'm like, kind of gave you a little bit of a consolidation here. On anytime it comes out of consolidation, your price cycles have now changed. And so basically this is now your new price cycle. And so it comes down at the end. I'd still be buying because it's contending with this, right? And so
Yeah.
I'd be buying off this, but now I'm going for break even and my break even is here. Does that make sense? So if it pops up and goes into this area, that's where I'm breaking even. And again, this is where I get out. This is where I get out of my trades if it stalls. If it doesn't stall and it keeps going back the other way, then I'll hold those trades off. Then I'll hold those trades, right? But you had take profits on. So, which is fine. It's just fine. So you're just doing the same thing. And now you just got to,
Right, because you normally trade without trade profits. Right?
That's me, but I put take profits on when I'm trying to fix trades. It's kind of weird, but when I'm just looking for a profit either way, and that's kind of what this drill is. So it's like you're trying to, if you were down like 2% negative, I got to chip away at that. Then I'm looking for 2 to 3 pips of profit. And I'm just chipping away until I get a high probability trade setup. Then I smack in and I take off my take profits, or I use magneto tool to adjust them to a position where it's kind of really far away. Like if I'm in the sell, see a high probability, I would take magneto and I'd put all my take profits here really quick. And then that acts as a zero take profit for me. Because I'm not looking for it to run down here. I'm just looking to get them out of the way so I can take advantage of whatever the market's doing. Boom, boom. How's everybody doing on the day? Not just the challenge in your other accounts. I think we're gonna probably kind of up on time, so I'm gonna wrap up. But real quick, Duke, give me a recap of anything you've learned, anything your takeaways from this, if you don't mind.
So not just keeping a bias, but looking for the opportunity, right? So most of the time I do recognize the price actions. I just don't always take the opportunity because I hold a bias.
Mm-hmm.
So like here I'm buying, I would wait for this and then buy again. Whereas, okay, if I recognize that I could just smack on the sells for, some quick retracements, and I would have additional profits. And the other thing you mentioned was don't buy at the end of a price cycle. And then outside range, this is your runners. So when I was up here buying, not a good idea, because he would have retraced here, buys here would have been better, right?
Right.
The other thing you mentioned is because you don't trade without take profits. So like here, when I entered buys again, these are good for runners. I got out on my layer here, so that's fixed.
Right.
And so now I just look for the next opportunity. So here
I would get out
the sales right here.
That's a first attempt, right? Well, and it
Exactly.
did stall. It did stall right there, so that would have been that could be a great point to get out of your trades right there, for a pullback and then get back in. So
well, I probably would have done like this. At least take half. But you're saying to recycle, so get out of my trades here and then come back, get back in?
That's just what I would do.
Okay.
Because it failed to, it's the first attempt, really.
Right.
It's the first attempt. I usually will take the profit at max profit is usually where you'll get that. And then it will come back to here to retest, and I'd buy back in this area.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it does break and it runs. And so this is important to watch that stall there, right?
The other thing is
it usually doesn't on the first attempt.
Actually, right here, when I was at break even profit, just to get out of it, reset. Because what happens if this didn't go through?
Mm-hmm.
I would have been in trouble and losing, like 100 or something like that.
Sure.
So that is a good one, because if I did that last night when I had that chance and I got out, then I wouldn't have lost so much. Because it was runner against me after that.
Definitely a good practice, guys. Practice this on your own, because I do think it helps to eliminate the personal biases that we have in the market. Why, if we got a bunch of sells on, then we want it to go down. If we got a bunch of buys on, we want it to go down. But this practice or this challenge helps us to find opportunities, even if we're in where we're personally biased of one direction. Kind of helps us to eliminate that. And so this is a good one to continue to practice, to continue to test. Other than that, I think, Duke, you did a great job. Thank you for allowing us to learn from watching. I appreciate that. If anybody else wants the opportunity, I love giving the opportunity to people, because you learn a lot, and it's nerve-wracking to put yourself in front of a group, but you do learn a lot more this way. I would think so.
Know that.
So that being said, guys, thank you. I appreciate it. Post your challenges in Discord, and if we don't talk later, we'll see you guys in the morning. So thank you, guys.